Next one's from Luke Ryan, and the subject is Chris Jericho having a swimming pool match. At a time when WWE are doing great shows and, by modern standards, great TV ratings. Oh, well, that's a debatable sentence right there. We have AEW pulling up the big guns. Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy for the fourth time only this time. And here's the draw. It's inside a swimming pool. I don't think it's inside a swimming pool. These guys get thrown in.
It's going to be around the ring or something.
Disco, I'd really love to know what your thoughts are on Jericho in his 50s and looking older. He used to wrestle in stadiums and arenas with the biggest names ever. Is now working a match in a pool with the played-out comedy character. AEW's been completely awful lately. Now Tony Khan is telling the fans how to react to stuff. I sense the beginning of the end, or it stays around and sucks worse than KG's skin on a 4K HD camera. That's a very nasty commentary about Kevin Gill. Let me say this about Jericho. Number one, I'm in better shape than Jericho. Like my body right now looks way better than his does. Okay, so he may be the demo god, but he's in second place when it comes to me for physical appearance.
Right.
Secondly, I assume that Luke, you're not a wrestler. You don't work for a living. But basically, everything that we do in this business is trained. We train to not be like a mark and just go out and be satisfied with what they're doing, with what they're doing. You go and you become good enough to get paid as much amount of money as you possibly can, and you do what the promoter tells you to do. So Chris has an unbelievable deal with AEW, and they're doing with him what they want to do with him because they're paying him an awful lot of money. And I would just, whatever, just he's making bank. That's what I look at Chris right now. He's killing.
It's almost like an actor, and they tell him, "Hey, you're going to be in the Avengers franchise. Who doesn't want to do that? Or you're going to be in the Star Wars franchise. You're paid like forever." So he's getting his forever pay right now. You know what I'm saying? He's getting big bucks WWE wouldn't give him. You can't hate on that. Yeah, it's very, everything he does, he does well. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead.
Let me say this too: is that he knows he comes across, and you can see on that roster, right? We've discussed this. Okay, he comes across as a star. He does all the star things. His entrance, his promos, the way he talks,
commentating,
facial expressions, just everything. Bro, he's a professional. Now, here's the funniest thing about this AEW cult and the wrestling media guys that are part of it. Right? Is probably by his own admission. Okay, you would look at Chris's last 2 years. When did he leave WWE? A year and a half ago, maybe? Or was it 2 years? It was how long ago was it?
2 years. Yeah,
2 years. Okay. So you look at what he was doing leading up to the 2 years, okay? He came back, was off TV. He went to Japan, right? Mm-hmm. And by his own admission, I think Chris, between leaving WWE and starting in New Japan and wrestling in Japan, bro, he got out of shape a little bit, right? And I think Chris admitted it. I mean, anybody looks at Chris on TV, okay, he's not in his best shape, but he's still out there just, and he's a step slower.
Producing.
Still producing, but the funniest thing is I think you would even ask Chris, was that one of your better wrestling years? And he would probably say no. But they still gave him the Wrestler of the Year because Meltzer, because he was now part of AEW, he's 4-star matches, 4.5, 5. And I'm watching him work, and I'm like, okay, well, if these are 4.5-star matches that Chris is having, then you got to redo having 10 years ago with Shawn Michaels and those guys. Because those are off the charts compared to the matches he was having now.
No, I mean, him and Omega, that first match was phenomenal. That was a great match.
It's not even remotely close to the matches they had there. If you want to dissect the work, but Chris is slower. His strikes don't look as good as they used to. And he doesn't have that. Chris had that tenacity. He still has it, but when you have tenacity and you're a little bit slower physically, that's just what happens to us when we get older.
Happens. Yeah. Chris saves his best fights for his biggest fights, the most important ones. And right now he's just coasting on personality and guiding the guy and all that. He's probably fucking broken down. The guy's been on the road for fucking ever. Yeah. But when he needs to pick it up, he picks it up.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Right now, he's
just kind of coasting.
Yeah, he
can coast. He deserves it. He's gained it. He's hurt, bro. And he's like the MVP of the company. He goes out there and he's the best commentator.
And plus, too, if they tell him, okay, you got 25 minutes tonight in a pay-per-view, he can do it. It'll be like, but it's not like 25 minutes of pay-per-view 10, 15 years ago. I mean, that's obvious.
The people turned real quick. 6 months ago, everybody was on his fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Or a year ago, whenever it was, when he was coming out with the bubbly and all that bullshit.
Right.
And, now that people they build you up just to tear you fucking down,
Yeah.
But he's doing his thing, respect.
Yeah.
Even though you're still on, even though you will continue to be on the disco list, boom,
with his dad,
with your dad.
Even if he has me on Talk is Jericho a second time.
Bro, that solidifies it.
That drew a big number. That's why he's got to have me back.
No, that's probably you incessantly bothering him to do it again. Nothing.
Bro, it's okay. You got to understand when he says big number. Okay, right. That's like a big number in 2020 because he's actually his gimmick right now is the demo god. He's bragging about like doing breathalyzer numbers in the demos in professional wrestling, and so it's definitely not as much people as it used to be. So when you say big numbers today, they're not really big.
I heard that my episode was released the same week as the Revival, and actually Joe Feeney on the Stephen King books defeated the episode with the Revival. So I mean,
I'd like to say I want to see evidence on that.
Wait a minute, the Revival, is that the guys that are in AEW?
Yeah, FTR. Yeah.
There's no way that's next one's from